I'd like to introduce you to this practice. I hesitate to use the word meditation because people have so much baggage attached to that term, so many ideas and expectations, and after practicing so-called meditation for years, having been through the personal experience of seeing the fact that it wasn't anything like what I expected to be. It's been different, and my understanding of it keeps on changing over time. I really feel like pretty much just not even using that term meditation anymore. So I'd like to introduce you to what I will call the ABCs of self-esteem, self-respect, confidence. You want self-confidence. You have come to the right soundtrack. You have come to the right place. So you're listening to the right track if you want to get confidence, if you want to get strong in your self-confidence, self-care, self-compassion, self-esteem. So the word esteem means to value something, to respect it, to hold it up high, to cherish it, to appreciate it, so to admire it, to treat it well. So self-esteem means that we're learning to treat ourselves well, to look after ourselves, to be kind, be compassionate to ourselves, be friendly, just like a really wise and kind friend would always look upon you with eyes of forgiveness, so much as to say that, yeah, you fell over. You fell over in that race. You came last, but I'm not even gonna see that. I'm not even gonna perceive that. I'm not even gonna think about that or talk about that. I'm just gonna come up to you and just say, wow, isn't that nice that you run that race? Doesn't matter about that little stumble. So that really wise and kind person just smooths over any hardships. So we can learn to do this. The practice of compassion, of friendship, is a relationship. It's something. It's not just one activity there. There's a relationship. There's a relationship between what's happening in the present moment, what's happening in our life, what's happening in our mind, what's happening with that other person. There's a relationship between what's happening there and our attitude towards it, the way we relate to it, the reaction that we have, the reaction that occurs in our mind. So much of the time our brain has been programmed to react with criticism and punishment, hardness, for us to be tough and rough with life, with other people, with ourselves. So does that help? Does it help when we fight someone that things are already hard enough, and then we start fighting? We want to give that person a black eye, or we want to hurt that person. Does it really help? Does it make our life better at all? Does it get us what we want in life? sometimes there's these ideas in the world. I remember coming across a newspaper article that was talking about the benefits of getting angry, how you could get sort of accommodated, get benefits from companies and organizations if you complained really vigorously about the product that they gave you, that you could actually get more. But when I think about that sort of reaction, that anger, it's just not nice. It gives other people that hard time. It might get us some extra things, like an extra item, but was it really worth getting that thing? And can we really feel happy after getting so angry? That anger just releases so much stress hormones through our body, through our brain, and creates like a fight, flight, freeze, fawn response in our body. It's a threat. It's all about danger. So a lot of the time, the ideas that we've been trained with in life, in the world, the ideas that we got raised with, that got trained and brainwashed into our brain, in our mind, in our system, in our nervous system, oftentimes they're just things that create tension and problems in our life. That these things actually got gradually indoctrinated into our system. And they're actually add-ons, they're baggage, they're optional extras. They're not you. You know, your anger, your criticisms, the punishments that you've had, the so-called crimes that you've done in your life, the things that you've done wrong, the times that you've gone wrong, that they're not you. They're not yours. They don't belong to you. They're not your possession. You don't have to keep bringing them up in the present moment. That you can actually let that stuff go. You can just stop holding on to that baggage, stop inviting it back in. And instead of, dragging all of that shit into the present moment with you so that it stinks up your life in the present moment, we learn to just let all that shit go, just like dog shit when you take a dog for a walk and you get one of those yellow bags, you don't keep carrying that bag around with you, you just chuck it in the bin. So you let it go and you just move on. And instead of continually bringing up that shit, of life, you start retraining your mind to bring up positive things. Start dwelling in positive things. Grow this. Get into this. That you can actually make a beautiful home for yourself. That your mind is your home. It's your home even more so than your house, your garden, your car, your belongings, even your body. Your mind. What's the quality of your mind? Is it the sort of mind that criticizes, that retaliates and seeks vengeance and punishment? Or is it just the kind of mind that just settles things down and smooths things over, like a parent who has a child, and the classic circumstance is that the child spills their juice, spills their milk, and they've got it out of the fridge and it's 2-year-old kid, 3-year-old kid, and they spill it. The parent can react in different ways. The parent could scream at the kid, could traumatize the kid and say, bad, terrible kid, what a horrible thing you've done. Or the parent can just say, well, have this sort of attitude that this is what happens with kids. Have realistic expectations, age-appropriate expectations, that's nature, that things spill, that's normal, it's reasonable, it's allowable, it's acceptable, it's embraceable. So that parent could go up and just embrace the child when they're upset about the milk being spilled and just say, it's okay. And there we go. Another unplanned mobile phone sound going off there. Phone call coming through. So, as I was saying, I think I was saying that parent has a choice as to how they can react. So you've got a choice. Do you keep listening? Do you just think to yourself, this is trash, this is junk, this isn't real stuff, this is just bullshit? Or do you think, no, I'm going to give this a chance, I'm going to give this a shot? This whole idea of self-esteem, like, why is it that we lack self-esteem? Why is it that we're depressed and anxious? There's a negativity there in our attitude, our attitude towards ourselves. So, how did that get in there even? I mean, if we're going to go along that line of questioning, then to give the answer, we could ask another question to sort of say, why do we even speak this language? Like, how did this negativity, this self-criticism, this self-loathing, even self-hatred, this self-punishment, self-flagellation, how did this stuff get in our mind? Why is it so common in the world? Well, it's just like how we all speak English in Australia. There's been a gradual training there. There's been an indoctrination for you to use that word. Each word, all the letters of this alphabet, that you learned that very gradually, moment by moment, day by day, before you can even remember probably. You learned this stuff, you picked it up. It was out there in the world, and it got encrusted onto your system. And in all likelihood, it causes chronic tension in your system in various ways. Because there's a lot of this just criticism that floats around in the world. There's just so much criticism. So, just in the same way as we learnt to use these words, we learnt to focus on the problems, on the mistakes, and to try to iron them out, to try to perfect things, to try to achieve. So much of the conditioning, the training that our mind gets is about achieving. You have a goal to improve yourself. That you're not good enough as it is. You make a mistake at school, you get a red cross. You get the answer that the teacher wants, and they give you a big nice tick. So you don't get acknowledged for trying a lot of the time in these systems. And your parents, they might only be proud of you when you achieve, when you get your goal, when you succeed. So is that really fair on you? Does that really acknowledge how much effort you put in life? Is that what you deserve? Is that what the companies deserve who, they're not perfect either. They give you a product and sometimes it's not perfect. It's got some problem in there. But isn't that just what happens in life? Does it really deserve to be so harshly reacted towards? So that's what this compassion is about. It's about the relationship there, about just softening it, making it more gentle, more accepting, less judging, and taking less for granted and appreciating more. Because, your expectations, whatever you expect, is stuff that you take for granted. If you don't expect it, you don't take it for granted, you can actually feel happy about that thing. You can actually soothe your nervous system, your brain, your body and mind down by becoming more grateful, more appreciative, and taking less for granted, and getting more realistic expectations, lowering those expectations down, that things do go wrong. They will always go wrong. And so in this practice, the ABCs, I've gone through and I've just mined out words of respect, words of esteem, words that I feel are important, that are valuable, to acknowledge qualities that are worthy, that are wonderful, that are amazing in life, to give credit where it's due instead of overlooking. Overlooking the so many achievements that we make as human beings. So we lower down the expectation, and it changes our relationship with ourselves, it changes our relationship with our life, that instead of it being not good enough, instead of it being a failure, that I'm out of a job, I'm just washing some clothes these days, I'm just cooking dinner for my family, or just even cooking dinner for myself, or I lost my job, I'm a failure. Instead of thinking like that, it's turning it around to say, yeah, you fail, but I'm not even going to use that word, because what about all those years you were in that job? Wasn't that a success? What about the fact that you're cooking dinner? That's important. You're giving nutrition to your own body, to your family. That you're doing some gardening. Whatever it is that you're doing, that counts. That it's okay to be ordinary, that it's more than okay to be ordinary, that it's amazing just to be ordinary. That these ordinary things can be amazing when we esteem them. That we're just an ordinary human being, we go wrong, we have warts, we have imperfections. Instead of trying to airbrush it out and make it look like a glossy magazine, like picture perfection, can't we just leave ourselves alone and just allow ourselves to be natural? Well, this self-esteem allows that. It's only when we don't really have self-esteem that we keep trying to be perfect, we keep trying to be that sports star, climb the ranks at work, career, status, money, big house, big car. All that stuff is just trying to add some value to an underlying sense of just that we're devalued, we depreciate, we underappreciate ourselves. And that life and the world actually tells us that this is the right thing. We should be doing this, because that's how we're going to get the best out of ourselves. You can only get the best out of yourselves if you really push. If you go to the swimming pool and there might be a swim squad there, and the coach might be just really pushing them, criticizing them, shouting at them. That it's always like trying to push and force yourself to go that bit faster, improve, beat your personal best, get your goal. You know that you're going to be fantastic by doing that. You're going to be a success. You're going to be a star, become a famous actor, get famous. But this stuff, it's just like the realization comes the more you do this practice of just real self-esteem. The realization comes that that's just empty. That underlying that overcompensation, that need to prove ourselves is just like this feeling of that I'm not enough. I need to be more. I should be doing more. So at long last comes along this practice of self-esteem, ABCs of self-esteem, to help retrain, gradually train out, wash away that old brainwashing, so that you can understand that this is good, this is actually healthy, this is right, you should be doing this. This is the right way to relate to yourself, to your mind, to your body. That it doesn't matter what size or shape your body is. You know, when I'm going through the list of just the ABCs, the alphabet of all of these kind words, as you're listening to it, I've made one version where I'm saying it like, I'm beautiful. And so you can let that just come into your mind as if it's your own thought, or you can repeat it after that. I'm beautiful. And it's fun. It's empowering. I'm beautiful. It gives you energy. But when I'm saying stuff like that you're beautiful, that I'm beautiful, I'm not talking about our body. That it doesn't matter about the body. That you know, it can be whatever size and whatever shape. I'm not talking about the body. I'm talking about you as a person. That you're lovable. That when I say that you're perfect, that you're outstanding, that you're excellent, that you're exceptional. It's like what a friend says, a really good friend, that, you know, you're super. You know, it's not feeding your ego. It's not saying you're better than anyone. It's not even comparing you to anyone. It's just appreciating you for you. That you can be valued. That you don't need to be compared. That you are valuable. You're able to be valued. You're able to be esteemed and respected. And that we give this. I give this to you freely. And you can allow this to yourself freely, that this is good, this is healthy. It doesn't give you a big ego. It doesn't feed your ego. It sets you free from feeling like you need to prove yourself. It dissolves away your ego, and it just leaves nothing but kindness. You're coming out of kindness. Our motivation is kindness, compassion, forgiveness. These beautiful qualities, these gifts of freedom to your mind, to your body, to free you up from tension, from stress, from that feeling that you're not good enough, that you're inadequate in some way, that you're unworthy. To actually share the truth with you, that you are worthy, you are good enough, and that anyone can do this. Everyone has so many qualities. And if you feel that one of the things on the list of the ABCs doesn't apply to you, then, if it's something that you feel is important that you'd like to be able to say about yourself, then you just grow that. You understand that you have that potential. And you can probably find times when you reflect back that you've had that quality. So you're capable of having that quality and growing that. And actually, you've been that at times. So it's a part of you. So it really is like food for your emotional life, for your happiness, for your relationships. It's just like the training that we get in life, in our family lives, sometimes at school, at work, the training that we get, the words that get spoken to us, the attitude with which we get looked upon is like starving us, starving our emotional world, our psychological life. So, of course we get symptoms then. A starving person gets symptomatic. It's important that they get some nutrition there. So this becomes your nutrition. To feed yourself, to care for yourself, to look after yourself. It's a skill, self-care. Just like we learned to talk, some people have a totally different language. They have different ways of doing things. We learned to talk, we learned to walk, we learned to write. We learn so many things in life. So this gradual training works. So the more that you just get into this, and you don't have to really try with it. Just as soon as you just put on the headphones or just put it through your CD player and just fall asleep to it even, it just washes through your mind, washes away that old brainwashing and just sets you free to see who you truly are, that you are a success. You got nothing to prove. You're just a success just by being who you are, just by being kind and compassionate, by being respectful, that you deserve to be esteemed, that ordinary things are valuable, are precious, and that it's okay. You don't have to achieve sort of like superstar fame or get really rich to be good enough. That everyone's good enough. Everyone can do this. Everyone deserves this. You're no exception. So you forgive yourself and you grow this very liberating relationship with yourself of just like a parent, like a friend, like a teacher who just loves you so much. They'll never criticize you. And if you speak to any psychologist who hasn't been living in a bubble for 100 years, anybody who knows about psychology, they know that praise works. It's much more powerful than any sort of critical feedback, any criticism, any negativity is much less powerful. It's much more inspirational, these positive feedbacks. And this positive feedback is just what you deserve. It's not like praise, not like something you're making up. It's just an acknowledgement, a recognition of what's there. And that it's healthy, it's good to recognize these things, that the more you recognize them, the more that you grow in them, the more that you grow these qualities, the easier it gets for you to be kind to yourself. You get this amazing momentum growing in your life of just feeling relaxed, feeling confident, no more fear anymore, because You already forgive the mistakes that you're going to make in the future. You already forgive the past, everything you did wrong, everything you're doing wrong now. And you just grow this attitude that I'm just perfect. Even the way that I broke that glass was the way that I twisted that ankle. What an elegant, what a graceful roll that I did on the ground there. You can just laugh and just make light of it. Don't take it so seriously anymore. Of course you make a mistake. You're always going to make a mistake, you know. It's always just a matter of time. So we just learn to stop trying to go for that mission impossible. Stop trying to achieve the impossible of perfection. And just learn to love and appreciate what we have. So many wonderful things about us that we appreciate, we respect, and we share that with our families and other people, and it's just really nice. It's really what people deserve. What a blessing to be able to just give people what they deserve, give them some freedom from those prisons of just fear of the mistakes that are going to go wrong in the future, just guilt about the mistakes of the past, depression about just that I should be better than this. No, you shouldn't be better than this. You should be just like this. You are like this. You're the way that you're supposed to be. You're meant to be. That's nature. Even if you get 50%, that's a pass that a real friend would just go, wow, isn't that a pass? Or even if you get 40%, it's like a pass conceded. Whatever you do, it's like counting what you did instead of what you did do. That you got 4 things there, 40%. You got 40 things. And just forgetting about the 60% that you didn't get, because that's always what happens in life. There's always that 60% that doesn't happen. Things go wrong, things don't go right, imperfections, mistakes, arguments. These things happen. They're always going to be a part of life. They're always just going to be there. So there's nothing we can do about those. So we just respect that I'm not going to be a part of the problems anymore. I'm just going to respect the things. I'm just going to do what I can. I'm just going to do what I can. If I can get 4 out of 10, 40%, isn't that incredible that I did those 4 things? So you can hear how just counterintuitive this is, how much this goes against the training that we've had in school, at TAFE, uni, at work, in our family lives. So it's a gradual training, you know, but the more that you commit to this practice, and the more that you just allow it into your mind and just put on the audio tracks, the more that it just washes through, the more that you understand it's the truth, that you can see it, you can perceive it, you know it, that it's true, and it becomes your habit, and you become this really happy person in life, really kind and generous person, so forgiving, really nice to be around, someone who just won't ever hurt someone else, and other people can feel safe around you. You can feel safe around yourself, so there's no more need for the depression and the anxiety and the low self-esteem. No more need for any tension, because there's not going to be any fights. If anybody, you just stop giving a shit. You know, if someone, you just don't give a shit if someone criticizes you or tries to punish you or whatever. You just don't take that on board anymore. You take no notice. You just ignore it, because you know that I've found this practice. This is the truth. I deserve this, not that. I'm just going to take that for granted. I'm just going to forget about that. Just smooth it over and say, yeah, I forgive you. That that there's an argument. So you get to just play around in life and have fun and laugh and get lighthearted, get relaxed. It's really healthy for your body and mind. And just grow those smile muscles and smile at life, at yourself, at other people, and become that really kind, wise friend. So you deserve that kindness and compassion. And you've been very patient with me introducing this for quite a long time now. So the ABCs, the more resistance that your mind puts up, the more that, your mind says, no, I'm not going to put on that audio track. It's just, I hate it. The more that it answers back, the more that your mind answers back and says, no, I'm not exceptional. I'm not outstanding. No, that's not true. The more that it does that sort of stuff, the more that it just shows that you just need this practice. You need kindness. And you don't even need to fight that stuff. You just have that attitude of very good mind. It's just a little bit of resistance, just that old programming telling you that you're doing the wrong thing, but you're really not. It's really beneficial thing for you to listen to these sorts of trainings, these sorts of audio tracks. So you can just let your mind do whatever it wants to. You don't even need to listen. You just play the track and it does it on its own. So you can just let go of control of your mind, and it can bring up images. It can shout back at the audio track that, no, you're wrong, you're stupid, I'm stupid. None of that matters. It's just some resistance, just a bit of those old habits. It's all going to melt away. As long as you just get into this, just gradually, bit by bit, just practice it. Just put the track on and just experience how your confidence grows over time. You get confident because you trust yourself finally. You're in a safe place. You're protected from too much criticism, protected from these things that hurt you and break your confidence. So you train this state of mind, this process. You keep your attention on the process. You forget about the outcome, the results. You just keep your mind on this process, just that I'm trying. It's good enough that I'm trying. It's more than good enough. It's wonderful. It's amazing that I'm trying to do this really worthwhile practice, this training, this most worthwhile thing, the most valuable thing that I've ever come across, really, just to learn to love, to esteem. So isn't that amazing that I'm doing that, that I'm prioritizing what is really important in life? I've found something. I've found what's really valuable in life, what's going to make me happy, because that's what all of our goals are about. And we have the goal of getting a fancy car, getting that perfect partner, because the real goal is that we're going to get happy, that we're going to get healthy and appreciative and confident and stuff like this. So we cut out the middleman and just make the happiness the goal. And that becomes our success. Just what a happy person, what a kind person I am. So we practice it and just get into it. Do whatever you can, and whatever you do, that's amazing. You've prioritized what is going to change your life, going to transform your life and give you the beautiful life that you always wanted, that you had that you have that. You've always had that. It's always been right here. The beautiful life. It's just that our attitude towards it was, we had a bad attitude. That we got taught to have that bad attitude. It wasn't a fault of our own. It's just a part of life, part of the world. There tends to be that bad attitude. But wow, what a slice of heaven, what a stroke of genius to just come across this. I didn't expect this at all, that I already had a beautiful life. Already I'm surrounded by beautiful people. I'm already with this beautiful person. I just didn't realize it. I couldn't see it. So that's all this practice does, is just helps you see it instead of focusing and on the problems and the painful aspects and having a blind spot for all of the beauty in life. We just learn to become not completely blind, but just have a little bit of a blind spot for the pain and the difficulties, and just in order to be able to have this process that's continually focusing on the happiness and the joy and the lovely things in life, because it makes us happy and it makes other people happy. So it's worth doing. So it doesn't make sense when you think about it. It sounds crazy, but it works. It's tried and tested, and it's a really big deal in psychology, in the world, this meditation stuff. And this is what it's about. So this is what people call meditation. And the person that you've been with, the person that you spend the most amount of time in your life with is yourself. So you're allowed to start with yourself. It's the best training ground. And it means that you can feel it. You yourself can feel it. You get that immediate result. So you got permission. You're allowed to do this. It's a wonderful thing to do. It's a wholesome, virtuous thing to do. It achieves results. It gives you that success. It gives you everything you wanted in life. When you realize that you already had it, you just were blind to it. So finally you can see. And that's just like genius, like a genius having like an aha moment, like, wow, I've found it. I've discovered how to make a light bulb. I've discovered how to make fire. It's a really big deal. It's like genius stuff. So that's rare. That's rare to come across that. It's something precious that you've come across. So make the most of it. You really seize the opportunity. You've got these audio tapes. It's all on a platter for you. All you need to do is you don't even need to eat it. You just press the play button and your mind just gobbles it down, because your mind just loves it. And you get free, you get happy, you get powerful mind, powerful in softness and love, and all the things that really matter in life. And you understand how much you matter in your life. Finally you get the credit that you deserve. So well done to you for having the wisdom to listen for this long to this introduction, which, has been going a long time. But that's what I feel like doing. So if you're still listening at this stage, that's an achievement in itself. Well done to you. You'll be getting a lot out of this stuff. It's not the sort of stuff that you usually hear in the workplace. It's pretty different. It's pretty out there. But it's scientific. It works. It gets the results that you want. It's not the way that you ever thought you'd get it. You don't go out there and prove yourself. You don't do anything even. You just lie there in bed, or you sit there and you walk around while you're listening to it. And confidence and happiness and health and self-esteem, freedom from anxiety and depression just comes to you. You just arrive in that place in the present moment. your brain changes, your nervous system, your body and mind changes. Not because you wanted it to change, but just because you accepted it just the way it is. Just because you loved it how it deserves. You loved yourself. You love yourself. And it becomes a habit. That process becomes a habit. And you get, later on, you get those achievements, those successes, you get those goals that you wanted, but not because you went out there trying to make it happen anymore. You get it just because that's what happens naturally to someone who's just really kind and compassionate, someone who's just really proud of other people, proud of themselves, really praises them and appreciates. People love that. You love that. So it's like a parent's love for their baby or for their puppy. The owner's love for their puppy just really settles that puppy down, and the puppy loves that owner in the end. Like, if the owner gives them the food they love, gives them, that puppy, such nice treats, really looks after that baby, changes the nappy, really holds them and soothes them and loves them how they deserve and makes eye contact, really invests in that relationship, that baby thrives, gets so confident. That puppy really loves that parent, that owner. And yeah, and that puppy becomes a happy, healthy puppy, not like that baby becomes like a confident person, confident human being, strong human being, not with a big ego. They're just like a really kind person. They become big on kindness and compassion. So that idea of like praising yourself, that's going to give you a big head, it's just not true. You get big-hearted, you care about people, you treat things as they deserve. So it's a very harmonious, respectful thing, and it's addictive as well. So you just, because you love it, like that child with that parent just loves hanging out with that parent. And so many parents and kids have so many problems in their relationships because the kindness just isn't there in the relationship, so they stay away. But in this relationship, it's so kind, it's like glue. You want to spend time with that. You want to spend time with this practice. You want to spend time with that person. That child loves their parent because their parent has really loved them. So really invested in them, really praised them, really encouraged them and acknowledged them, given them the credit that they're due, really cared for them, anything that they wanted, anything that they needed, anything they felt like. That parent just has gone out of their way to provide, to do whatever they can, to be generous to that kid. And that kid grows up confident, not with a big head, not with a big ego. So you don't even need to worry about that stuff. When you think about it, you think that you'd get a big ego out of praising yourself, but you really don't, because that's totally not where we're coming from with this practice. We're just coming from kindness. We're not saying that you're better than anyone, that you're extraordinary in terms of like some achievement or something that makes you more than anyone or more than yourself, that you're doing better than yourself, that you've improved yourself. It's not saying that. It's just saying like that you're extraordinary just the way you are, that you're just being ordinary, just being yourself is praiseworthy, is worthy of credit. That, a human being, that just this body, however it is, just this mind, is so extraordinary, so remarkable, so incredible. So it's such a sophisticated system. All those cells, like trillions. I can't remember how many trillion cells, but 33 trillion or 36 or 18 or something in the human body, and like 27 billion nerve cells, neurons in the brain. Isn't that amazing? That's you. As just an ordinary human being. That's you. Isn't that completely mind-boggling to reflect in that way? That just an ordinary human being is that. That all those different cells can work together to be a team, to move the muscles around, to do all the things that we take for granted, to walk, to talk. How does that work even? Well, that's just like miraculous when you think about it like that. So little things like these, like little reflections like these, give you the ABCs of a new language that even rhymed. Little things like these give you the ABCs of a different language, the language of love, of praise, of recognition, instead of so much criticism. You just let any criticisms you don't become a target for that anymore. You don't let it have any meaning to you. It's just like a foreign language. Like for me, if someone came up to me and spoke, like even a language as popular as Japanese, like if you came up to me and spoke Japanese, you could curse me, you could say anything to me, you could call me a dog, you could say anything to me, you could think anything about me in Japanese, and it just has no meaning to me. So you just make no meaning. You don't let it have any meaning. Any criticisms, any punishments, anything anyone else thinks or says or does, you just don't give a shit. Except if it's kindness. You only take it on board if it's kindness. Otherwise you just take no notice. Just like a foreign language, you just let it just float off you like water off a duck's back. Just like some elevator music. You don't keep replaying that in your mind. You just let it go. It just flows through you. You just let it go through you. It just passes straight through you. Whatever anyone thinks or says or does that's critical or punishing, angry towards you, you don't deserve that. So you just don't take it on board anymore. Just like someone's throwing some poison at you or offering you some poison, you just don't drink it anymore. You don't take it. They're offering you that, but you just don't take it. Or like an analogy of like if you've got a little rowboat and there's all these, I don't know, like there's like all these other people trying to get into your boat and you're sort of trying to damage your boat. You don't let them go on board anymore. In fact, you trade in that old rowboat of criticism and punishment and force and pushing and controlling yourself and trying to dominate yourself. You exchange that for like a huge cruise ship, and you fill it up with just all these kind people who are saying all these kind things about you. It's got such high walls on that thing, like it's so far out of the water that any attackers just can't even get on board. You just cut loose their ropes when they're trying to, any pirates trying to get on board, they can't even get on there. Anybody who's not being kind, you don't let them onto your cruise ship anymore. You're on this beautiful cruise ship. You've exchanged that old little rowboat that was getting plundered by pirates and getting sunk. You've exchanged it for like this beautiful cruise ship. That's what self-esteem is like. And you fill it up with all these beautiful ideas, beautiful thoughts and words and actions of care and esteem, respect and valuing. And you end up like you're on a cruise ship, cruising through life. So nobody can really interfere with that once you've grown, once you've built up that momentum. It's like you used to be walking around just in a bubble that was filled full of shit, all of the criticism, the punishments, It's just chock-a-block full of shit, and you're walking around, even when someone else wasn't punishing you. You had pirates on your boat already, in your mind. That your own mind, that training was just criticizing you. You let that go. You empty out that bubble of all of that shit of punishment and criticism. And instead you grow this bubble of just kindness. You end up just walking around with this bubble of just protection, of just praise. Even if someone gives you a criticism, your own self-praise, just you don't even mind whether anybody else acknowledges you at all in the end. Even if they're kind to you, you're so wrapped up in your own kindness, you acknowledge yourself so much that you just like got this buffer. You're protected. So that's the ABCs. That's the ABCs of self-esteem. That's how it works. Hopefully it makes sense how it works, why it works, what it is, why I've called it the ABCs of self-esteem and confidence. If you want to get self-esteem and confidence, this is the training for you. You're at the right place. So when you think about it, it might not make sense, but don't let the thoughts stop you from going on and getting that experience. It's as easy as just putting on these audio tracks, and the rest just happens on its own. Self-esteem, strength and confidence. Your birthright coming to you right here. So I'm saying bye. I'm saying bye to your self-criticism, bye to your self-underappreciation. See ya. And that's me signing out.